lyrics, and one of the main things is that a lot of people don't really concentrate on lyrics. Some people do. And of course, AC/DC is, known for their hit songs. Their other songs aren't really too familiar, and people, they know the chorus, the Back in Black and Highway to Hell, and that's it. But today I wanted to focus on the, I don't want to say genius, but really good songwriting skills of Angus and Malcolm, and of course, Bon and Brian. Most of those, all four, contributed to the songs. Phil and, Cliff really didn't do anything for songwriting. So I noticed I've learned some stuff, and then I, discovered some stuff after when listening to some of the lyrics. I was like, oh, okay, is that what they mean by that? There's a lot of stuff out there. I'm sure that's probably happened to a lot of you. Standing at the queue with the Odeon, all right. So, of course, I wasn't sure, back then, you gotta think I was listening to songs back in 1985, 86. So I wasn't sure specifically, most of the tape cassettes didn't come with the lyric sleeves. The lyrics in them, especially all the stuff that was made from 1980 beforehand. And it wasn't until 85 or so once they started putting the lyrics in, or 84, 85, putting the lyrics into the sleeves and everything, which was kind of an oxymoron how that happened. It actually just helped fans and everything, helped fans and helped bands. But I'll get into that whole other time, that topic another time. But anyways, I really wasn't sure, and then of course years later, when I did see the lyrics, I was saying, stand the Q. I'm like, what is the Q? I wasn't sure if it's some kind of British slang, Aussie slang, or what have you. But the Q is a line, and the Odeon is a place, like a theater, but a place for singing. That's what it was. So, you learn this stuff, and you realize after years later, like, oh, okay, that's what they mean, that's what's interesting about songs. Because there's always words that you don't catch, even in AC/DC stuff. And the other part, in the AC song, Can I Sit Next to You, Girl, with Bon, he kind of just squeals it, he kind of says it kind of funny, kind of, lick your ear. It was like, in the way he says it, I don't want to imitate him, but I was like, oh, okay, is that what he's saying there, lick your ear? I saw the tablature, and then when I listened to the song, I was like, oh, okay, that's what he's saying right there, lick your ear, okay, that's all. Ain't a bad place to be, which I guess is referring to something sexual. I didn't think he was at all, in any way, shape, or form. I just thought he was thinking of, I don't know, modern day stuff, out in the city, and then, living in sin, or what the heck have you. But it does, so, and of course, one of my favorite lines, I'm going to put up a little clip of it. Age album, Sin City. And of course, when I first saw that, I was like, Sin City, what is he talking about? It was like back in 85 probably when I first heard that one. I had no idea what Sin City was. I thought it was just another one of their songs or things that they made up. I didn't realize or know at the time it had to do with Las Vegas, I'm Gonna Win, and Sin City and all that other stuff. So when I listened to the song even back then, I was like, oh, okay, I see it's about gambling and champagne on ice and everything. So when he mentions in the song Lamborghinis, caviar, dry martinis, Shangri-La. And I'm like, okay. When you're talking about the caviar and the dry martinis and all that stuff, when you're saying Shangri-La or Shangri-La, I thought he was mispronouncing and kind of saying it so it would rhyme the words chandelier. Chandelier. That's what I thought he was saying. But I had no idea that he was saying Shangri-La. And so Shangri-La is an imaginary heavenly place that's almost perfect. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's what that is. Years later, once I read up on it and stuff like that. But it sounded like chandelier. You gotta think, chandeliers, caviar, fast cars, nice cars, fancy stuff. That's what I was thinking when I read it. When I was listening to the song years ago. And of course, keep in mind, back then there was no YouTube, there was no Wikipedia where you could just go up and start looking stuff up. Alright, I'm just going to read this one because I like this lyric. I'm not going to do a little video clip on it or anything. But the song, What's Next to the Moon, off of Parage once again. It's a rare track. I don't want to say it's a rare track. I mean, none of their tracks are rare, but Some of their albums have more least selling, and then of course with a lot of their songs, the 3 or 4 songs off of each album, or probably most of all the songs, off their several, their least amount of selling albums, are just not really well known. They should be anyway. It's AC/DC fans. AC/DC fans of any level should definitely just check out their stuff. Should always just check out their back catalog. I mean, that's what I did. Once I bought Who Made Who, me personally, I started buying every single AC/DC tape. Every single one I could get, and checking them all out. Myself, I went to the arcade, I saw where this was, and I took pictures of it and got video of it and stuff like that, because I was just like, oh, I gotta get pictures and video of that pinball game, and it would be really cool for a video. So that's exactly what they did. So it's not stock footage that you'll find anywhere else, really. It's footage that I recorded. 42, 39, 56. You could say she's got it all. Probably one of the first ever songs written about a BBW woman. And you have to think, probably back in the 70s, one of the 80s, and loving a BBW woman wasn't the keen or cool thing to do. So yes, the first song ever written about a BBW woman, Whole Lotta Rosie. Awesome lyrics, awesome song in there. I'm sure most of you know it. Take off your high heels, let them hear. Most of all of those lyrics, of course, on there are just awesome. Highway to Hell, the lyrics were written, awesomely and cool and great, because I don't want to say matured. I hate when people use that word, because the lyrics are more serious. The lyrics are more matured. AC/DC lyrics have mainly just stayed the same. I don't get the whole mature lyrics thing. That's something that bands and musicians just say for the heck of it. However, just really good songwriting on the album Highway to Hell, like with all their other stuff. That's why I'm doing this video. But I really like that. Nobody was making love. I was so satisfied deep down inside, like a hand in a velvet glove. I'll put the lyrics right up on the screen here. So you see that he rhymes. He takes the word love, and then he rhymes the next 2 lines, and then he throws in a velvet glove after it rhymes with love. There's a specific term and name for that within songwriting and whatnot, but I don't know exactly what it's called. I'll have to Google and then put it here if I can find it and if I look it up. Okay, so there's that one. Awesome song. Touched too much. She had the face of an angel smiling with sin, the body of Venus with arms. So I thought that was really interesting, and it was a really clever play on words and just how he uses just words, ancient stuff, old stuff that they used, old stuff and modern stuff that AC/DC used for the lyrics. So the body of Venus with arms, and I was like, oh yeah, the statue there with no arms. Kind of an odd one, but the body of Venus with arms. It's kind of an interesting lyric. Here's another one that kind of goes back. When you're listening to it, you don't think of these things, but when you dig more into the lyrics and then you find out about the lyrics, and then you're like, oh, okay, is that what he's saying? Oh, is that what that means? Because sometimes you don't know what that actually means, or some people just don't care. They're listening to the album, and then you're just listening. AC/DC really never talks about specifically religious things within their songs, but I thought this was an interesting one. Thrown to the Lions, and I heard that when I remember hearing it years ago. Thrown to, because he shouts it, and I was just like, I wasn't sure what that he was talking about. I kind of didn't care, I guess. I was just enjoying the song, and I didn't even catch the part where he says "feel like a Christian." I have no idea. That part just went through me. I caught "Thrown to the Lions," and I kind of knew, but once again, I really didn't care. It didn't really sink in. Not long. I like the line, knocking me out with those American thighs. Just kind of curious if it bothered any Australian girl or any English girl or whatnot, or, them saying, hey, what about Australian thighs? What about British thighs and all that other stuff? I don't know. It's just the line they threw in there. With those American thighs taking more than a share. Song is Night of the Long Knives off of the album For Those About to Rock. It's an awesome song. It's a great song. like many people have said before, AC/DC doesn't get too political in their songs, and I've mentioned that too. But Night of the Long Knives is about the Nazi purge. Hitler orders a bloody purge of his own political party. So basically, it was Nazis killing Nazis. Basically, anybody that he thought that was going to get in his way, or people who he thought that were planning or knew that were planning a coup against him, to overthrow him and take over. So basically, that's what it is. But AC/DC really doesn't get into much detail, really, with the song. You know, who's your friend and who's your foe. You know, who's your Judas, you don't know. So anyways, they go into, they just say Night of the Long Knives, and that's kind of it. Once again, they don't really politicize it too much. And it's one of those cool songs where you find out, when you do find out, if you're finding out for the first time this fact, that's cool because I've taught it to you. But that's what it's about. And once again, AC/DC just, when they do a song like that, they don't get too much into detail. Bedlam in Belgium. Now, Bedlam in Belgium is off the album Flick of the Switch. It's another awesome song. It's another awesome album. I would and could do Flick of the Switch, but I'm just going to go, which are better songs. Never Shake Down and Flick of the Switch are better songs anyways. But Bedlam in Belgium is an interesting one because it's a true story. When they were playing in Belgium, there was a 9 o'clock curfew, or a 9:30 curfew, and then I read 11. I read several sources, and I found out there was, different times and hear different things. I saw this several years ago when I was reading the lyrics, and a number of years ago, and I was like, let me see what the heck that's about. What is that about? It sounds like some riot or something at a show. And basically, yeah, it was. There was a curfew at the Belgium show, and then when AC/DC was playing, they kind of played past that because they, I don't know if they got on late or what the heck ever. It was a 9 o'clock curfew, 9:30, whatever it was. They got onto the stage and they're playing, and then probably like halfway through the set or so, the cops started beating the kids and arresting the kids and, people there, men, whoever. They started beating some of them too because a lot of the people were resisting, like, hey, what the heck are you doing? This was a show. We understand the thing about the curfew, but they thought they were like, well, this is a special show. They're going to let the curfew slide. Nope. Somebody in charge of the mayor of that town, the city, what the heck have you, decided to be a prick. So cops decided to be pricks and started beating people and arresting people. So when I noticed that the song was off of Flick of the Switch, you got to think they recorded that album in 83. It was released in 83. So, okay, so it must have been off the album beforehand. So I'm like, wow, it must have been off of the, For Those About the Rock tour. But no, upon further reading, I find out that it happened in 1977. So it was with Bon Scott with them. So Brian Johnson didn't experience it all. But it's something that Angus and Malcolm experienced. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. But interesting song to write about. And from 70, not 74 Jailbreak, but Let There Be Rock up until Flick of the Switch, there was all that time between, a good 6 years. And I guess they decided, oh, hey, well, we have the song lying around and have this idea or whatever, or we're thinking about memories. Who knows when they wrote the song, but that's what song inspired it. That event is what inspired albums. What are your favorite lyrics off of an AC/DC album? List them below. I know I missed many of them. And I can't do every single album, even my favorite 3 or 4 favorite songs off of each album, because the video would be way too long. It's possible in the future I might do a part 2 of this, and starting off with Flying the Wall and then going upward from there. But that's all I have for today, and thanks a lot for watching. See ya.